Hello, today I've called the message Weapons of Defence. Now we're talking about spiritual weapons, as you realise. We've been doing this for a while, looking at the strongholds in the mind and the way in which demons have legal rights to these strongholds, and we need to have weapons to deal with it. Spiritual discernment is one of those weapons. But there is a specific part in Scripture in which the Apostle Paul, who wrote the key text of 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4, the weapons of our warfare. So Paul knew about weapons, and he wrote Ephesians also. Now Ephesians chapter 6, and I'm starting to read from the Message. The Message is very clear, great translation by Eugene Peterson. And he says this from verse 10, Ephesians 6 verse 10, I'll read down the right little section there. A fight to the finish is what Eugene calls this particular part. Well, that wraps it up. God is strong and he wants you strong. So take everything the Master has set out for you, well-made weapons, there's the key, of the best materials, and put them to use so that you'll be able to stand against everything that the devil throws your way. This is no afternoon athletic contest that we'll walk away from and forget about in a couple of hours. This is for keeps. This is a life or death fight to the finish against the devil and his angels. So be prepared. You're up against far more than you can handle on your own. Take all the help you can get, every weapon that God has issued, so that when it's all over but the shouting, you'll still be on your feet. Now here he makes a list, five things. Truth, righteousness, peace, faith and salvation are more than words. Learn how to apply them. You'll need them throughout your life. So 5 weapons there. Now all of these are weapons of defence. If you look in the King James, you'll see that they correspond to a piece of clothing or a piece of protection. So let's have a look at them. Truth is the first one, and it's related to the belt. A Roman soldier would wear loose clothing, but he'd have a belt, and the belt is called the belt of truth. So we, applying this, need to make sure that everything we do in life is truthful. There's no sort of grey areas where, well, it's kind of true, but it's not exactly true, or it's half true. And so we need to be lovers of the truth. That's the first weapon of defence against lies, because the devil is the father of lies. So we need to be truthful. Righteousness. Now, righteousness is known as the breastplate. It goes across the top of the chest and covers the lungs and the heart, the vital organs. And the breastplate used to be worn by the high priest with various stones on it. And the breastplate is the breastplate of righteousness. Now, a lot of Christians don't understand that they are righteous. They think they are still sinners. I'm just a sinner, God's grace and so on, but I'm a sinner. No. When we're born again, our nature has changed. 2 Corinthians 5:21 tells us we were sinners, but now with the righteousness of God. So my nature, we need to know this as a defence. When the devil accuses us, we need to know defensively that we are righteous. Peace. Now in Matthew 5 and verse 9 it says, blessed are the peacemakers. It doesn't say blessed are the peacekeepers. Peacekeepers wear blue berets and they work for the United Nations, and their job is to keep the peace at any cost, stop the warring factions in a nation facing each other and so on. They're peacekeepers. But we are supposed to be peacemakers. And there's a great example in Galatians 1 or Galatians 2, is it? It says that Peter stood up against, it's Galatians 2. Galatians 2, when Peter came to Antioch, I withstood him to the face. This is Paul writing. That's Galatians 2 verse 11. Paul withstood Peter said, no. You used to eat with me when there were Gentiles present, and now you've stopped. Now that's not right. And he confronted him. So peacemakers confront. And there's an example of Paul not being afraid of the chief disciple. Peter was the boss, he was the chef. Right, so peace, that's related to our shoes. In the King James it says, our feet should be shod with the peace of the gospel. Now then, the next word is faith. Now faith, the Roman soldiers had huge shields. It's a shield, and it's a shield they put their arm through, and they stand locked together. If you look in the history of Roman soldiers and how they fought, they locked themselves together with other soldiers, the shield of faith, whereby we can quench the fiery darts of the enemy. The devil fires fiery darts at us, not actual darts, but he attacks, and we suddenly think, oh, what's going on? It's a fiery dart. Well, if we stay in faith, don't look at things as though they seem to be what we see with our physical eyes, but look by faith and say, God's in control here. I am going to react in faith, or respond in faith, not react in panic. So faith is the shield. And then lastly, salvation. Now that's related to the helmet. We put on the helmet of salvation. And that's, as I've been saying, is where the battle is in our mind. If we put on the helmet of salvation, it protects our minds from receiving the thought waves of the enemy. We need to put on the helmet of salvation. These are the weapons of defense. We need not just to know them, not just know the words, but we need to apply them, because we'll need them every day of our lives. I'm sure that helped you. Study it from Ephesians chapter 6. Look at it in the Message and in the King James, and you'll really benefit from that passage. Okay, God bless you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.